Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I filmed in advance here because we are going out of town for 2 days, 2 nights, just up to North Carolina. Um, it's not as humid up there in the mountains, and we're going west of Asheville. It is just insane here, and it's going to keep getting insane. Anyhow, all right, so I am, um, and I did kind of want to leave you dangling, even though I don't think you'd be upset about it, but I'm just programmed to do this, so I do it. Um, what I did today was a lot of fun. And it starts off with half square triangles, then it starts off with some sashing, then it starts off with another border. And you can do this simply, this could be like the beginning of put four of these together and make about an 18-inch block. Um, which makes for a bigger quilt. You only have to make four of those, and then you can put a border around that. Um, and not all of these are fancy, and I'm kind of already regretting, not regretting, getting bored with some of the simpler patterns. And you'll see, I do make a wackadoodle one, but I actually like it so much more. And um, but all of it is still fun. All of it is still fun. That is a major requirement for me. It has to be fun. But I want to make a little bit different stuff every day, for your entertainment and my entertainment, and or whatever. And no, Sunday's video, I did a couple of, and I might have done some more in between too. Um, a couple things in Procreate where I kind of like showed how one square could lead to a whole pattern of a quilt. And it doesn't have to be a quilt. It could just be layers of paper. Right, right, right. After all, it is paper. But these are just because I am really in a quilt mood right now and inspired by the book I just received and another one on the way. Um, not sponsored by any means, hide nor hair. And I do love quilting. And I've never done this kind of a video, kind of a journal, but I do kind of want to like make my own fabric from Spoonflower, and it'll be owned by Spoonflower, but I kind of do want to make my own fabric. And I'm really, really on the cusp of doing that. I'm on the cusp of several art projects that I really, really, really want to do. Um, and I just, I think that would be the coolest thing to say, I made this fabric. And I owe all of this to Ebond because I saw how she's been inspired from her own paper work to turn that into fabric. Now, granted, she's, making a living at it. I'm not. I'm just a hobbyist. But that's okay too. That is okay too. And, as K Facet ages, he might say, Beth, can you make my fabric for me this year? I'm like, sure, I'll do that for you, California pal. And just, having fun in the best sort of way. And it is a little bit, there's no story involved because I like to, involve a story a lot of times in my journals. I like to have uh, I love learning by journaling. And to me, this is just another form of learning by journaling. Um, I'm learning quilt patterns. I'm cheating a little bit. What I cut off on the end there because it didn't fit is against all quilt rules, but that's okay. Yes, I am watching a video while I do this. Um, but, you know, it is so much fun. Quilting is a lot like what I do in a journal. You cut up paper from one size and you shrink it down to another size, and then you glue a bunch of those together, and then you come up with something else. I half glue stick will create and a pair of scissors and some paper and some paints. I just am, some would say obsessed, some would never say obsessed. Some would say having fun constantly. Yes. And this paper is from all different places. Some it's painted, some is the drop cloth paper, some is child's easel paper, some is photocopy paper that my husband's printer is spitting out 2 pieces at a time. And it's got computer language on one side, so you can't reuse it. Some of it is stuff I have created myself. Some of it is store-bought. Some of it is um, it's coming from everywhere. Um, Magazines, painted, whatever. Um, it's just fun. And I'm kind of basically using the same techniques you would in quilting. Making half square triangles. Those are called half square triangles, the blue and yellow. And then sashing is the red in between. And that can be a myriad of configurations to turn into another quilt. Use that quilt right there, that block, and and turn it into all kinds of stuff. And this is a bunch of stuff that I did from Rex Ray that I put all together, kind of like my own washi tape, but it's just on a piece of paper, and I used it as a border. Um, it just, the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless. The fun is endless. Um, and I made a couple simpler ones after this one that are, well, one is simple, one is wild, and I would love to do it. I might put this in an idea book for next year when I go to Missouri for my retreat. I would love to do something like this. I'll show you. When I get to it, I'll show you. But this, I don't know why I'm like this. Do I hate that I'm like this? Nope. Nope. I just love paper. I love fiber. I love fiber. Um, and I think I've always been like this because I can remember as a teenager going to the mall um, in this late 70s, going to the mall and finding Madras pants. Were they in style at that time in California? No, but they were selling them in this one specific store, and I just loved them. And I don't even know I was spending my own money because I worked at Taco Bell in high school, and I think I don't know if I was brave enough to wear them because I didn't want anybody to know I was even alive. But oh my God, looking at that plaid and all that color, they had me at hello bias. But I've been like that for a very, very long time. In high school, um, I had a pink pantsuit because yeah, my mom and dad would let us wear pants to school once a week in the 70s. And once I got into high school and I started buying my own clothes, and I think we were still not, but once a week, girls wear dresses. I know, antiquated thought process, especially in Marin County in California, but it was okay. And I had a pink pantsuit, and it was like polyester, but it was kind of like sweatshirt material polyester, and it was pink with a pink and white top. I love that thing. And on Mondays, that's what I wore because I couldn't wait to wear it. And it was usually on, this was called boxed in, INN. Um, Usually on Mondays is when I wore my pants. All of us did. All three of us did. My two sisters and I, we all wore our, most always. One of my sisters was more disciplined and she could wait till Friday. Not me. Not me. I think when I was a senior in high school, my mom finally said, okay, you can wear pants, whatever you want. And it was like, Katie, bar the door. Here we come. But I don't think we were allowed to wear jeans. Um, but now this one is a little bit more simple. But if you paired it with, and the final set of rings that I put on here, because there are rings put on here, the final set you could do with black fabric and on the bias, and you could make it like an inch and a half, basically like ribbon. All this was driving me nuts because all this paper was thin, and this paper punch wants thick paper. And I forget that every time I do it until I get ready to do it, and then it kind of crunches and eats the paper. But I have sharpened it. I have done everything. It just wants thicker paper than, and the paint um, drop cloth paper is thin. Anyhow, I was going to add some more stuff to this one, and you'll see, but I decided no, because I could take this and use it as a quarter of a block and make 4 of these, and then it wouldn't be so kind of blasé, simple minded. And you could change up the fabrics, and that probably could change something completely different too. But anyhow, it was still fun, and I'm not going to corner myself in to to create complex somethings every single day. Because simple times 9 or 4 or 36 can be very complex by that point. This was thick photo mixed media paper, so I used tape. But and there is a quilt pattern called wedding ring and double wedding ring, and it's not unlike this, but I don't know. I was kind of discouraged with this one, but now looking back, I'm okay with it, because I think I would put 4 of these together and make at least a 4-patch quilt block, and then put sashing around it and put maybe 4 of those 4 patches. And by then you have probably 36 by 36, and then you can start adding some borders, and you've got a quilt top. At least for a large throw, which is about the size I make anymore. But the biggest I make. It's still fun, and it's still creating something with paper, you know. I got a little messy here, but that's okay. Still fun. Still fun. But the next one is the one I really like. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I really like it. Mainly because it's kind of out there. But there's another quilter, a real quilter, Joe Cunningham. And he does do quilts like this. Not this one, the next one. Where he look up Joe Cunningham, Joe the Quilter. I think, and his last name is Cunningham. Don't look at my iPad. Now that I'm telling you, don't look. You can see what I watch sometimes. Anyhow, so it's really abstract, way out there, and I love it. Love it. And if I could find corresponding fabrics close to these, I would do this. Ooh, you can see my gray hair and my roots. Anyhow, these last black rings, I would do this in bias fabric and a thin, like maybe 1/2 inch strip. And then you could create, because the bias will stretch, you can create circles. What did I call this one? Linked in. INN. I'm in the ends. But I felt like that one was really simple and really plain. But you can jazz it up. And that's the fun part too, to me. And I mean, I do have all this paper, so hello. And I do go wild. I go wild here. Mainly because I saw a scrap on the floor, and I'm like, ooh, I like that shape. How can I create that shape? Well, here it comes. Here it comes. And there is fabric. There's a lot of fabric now is printed on, it's laser printed, and there are designs like this. And especially if you go to like Spoonflower, you can find fabric, maybe not these exact colors, but you can find stuff like this all over the place. Not sponsored by Spoonflower, but if you want to, okay. But oh my gosh, this is where it starts really getting. I love a good traditional block. Usually in bright colors. I don't like it in like vintage style colors or plain colors, is what I call them, plain colors. I like bright and colorful, but I do respect the other kind. It's just not my forte. But I do like a traditional block a lot, um, and then kind of jazz it up. But I also like this, where you can go hog wild. And it is so overcast here. It is dripping, which we need some more rain. We have not had any rain. It splits when it gets to the lake because it comes from the west, and on the very western end of the tip of the lake, it just starts splitting and either goes north and south. Rarely does it go over us. It went over us last night for sure, finally. But yeah, like we've been having 97, 98 every day, but up in the mountains where we're going, it's like 79. I'm like, yes, it's still warm, but nothing, and not near the humidity we have here. In fact, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, um, the last 2 summers now, July and August, they're in the mountains. They're renting a condo and they're up in the mountains. They just get out of here. But anyhow, it's so funny because they're gone a lot in the summer and we're gone a lot in the winter. We're like ships passing in the night here. And we only live like 8 miles from each other. But we never see each other. So this is manufactured paper, the pink and black. But then I added stuff to it. And this could easily be done with pink and black polka dot fabric, which you can find. And then, some kind of crazy patterned fabric. And then the other piece that I do add to it is easily available. So this would be a fun wall hanging, in my opinion. Probably not for everybody, but that's okay. That's okay. We all have to be a little different. And I'm not even sure what this scrapbook paper, I'm not sure where it's from. But I love this. I'm not finished yet. Just hold on. And then I took a different color pink and did some stripes over the top. And I love it. Love it. I would make this in a skinny minute, as the Southerners say, in a skinny minute. I love it. And this is a style that Joe Cunningham does. And he probably would have sewn some of this together, then he cuts it apart, and then he resews it again, and then he cuts it apart, and then he resews it again. A lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times. And then he's got a fancy, fancy quilt machine that you can program your own quilting pattern. And a lot of times it's like a city map. He's from Flint, Michigan, and he did one that was a Flint about the water problems that they've had there. And the quilting pattern was like the lines of a city map from Flint. It was spectacular. But anyhow, to me, this is one way to just have some fun and go a little hog wild. And I love this. It's not done yet. There's an added touch. Yep. But again, you could outline everything and have a tiny little border around everything, or bias tape on top that you made out of black fabric, as long as it's on the bias. This probably wouldn't have to be on the bias because it's all straight angles, which therefore you can not use as much fabric. But I love this. I love this. This is probably going to me with Missouri unless I come up with something even better. I don't know. But that's the fun of it. Creating, exploring, just go for it. And if you've got a stash of paper and a glue stick, the world is your oyster. Or your quilt block. Or your journal page. Or your sketchbook page. I love this. I love it. It's bright. It's perky. It's geometric. It's cut up. It's glued back down. What did I call this one? Pink something. Pink Power. It should have been called Pink Ladies. Anyhow, so much fun. So much fun. The possibilities are endless. Even with a simple pattern, possibilities are endless. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. Bye.